How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the potential fixtures that could be coming up in Game Week 26, which would be double Game Week 26. We got 3 double Game Weeks in a row, 24, 25, but the big one that we're all looking at is Game Week 26, and that's going to be where I'm potentially going to be looking to bench boost, so I got to plan ahead a little bit, and I got to be looking at what type of wildcard I could potentially be looking at so I could set my team up for it, because as it stands now, my team's not exactly the best, kind of double game week team. There are some players that I would like to remove, some players I would like to trade in for, and some players that are injured that need to go regardless of that fact. And we'll also be taking a look at which fixtures could potentially be moved into it, because there will be a blank in Game Week 29. Now, I still have my free hit chip, and I always had planned on using the free hit chip there, so I can just do that and then not have to worry about it. Just pretty simple thinking there. If you are enjoying the videos, make sure to leave a like on them, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And make sure to drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with all the different videos and when we go live. And we will go live on Twitch tomorrow at the time of recording at 5 a.m. EST for the Game Week 24 double Game Week 24 FPL stream over on Twitch. It's PilotFlame226. Link is in the description. Also, we will leave a pinned comment down below so that you can check that out. We'll be going live, and make sure to bring your questions. It gets very interactive on deadline days. So without further ado, let's see how my team currently is. So this is how my team currently sets up at the moment. We're going a bit of free form here because I'm going to be switching in between different screens here. So currently we have Pope, we have me, so we're set up for this double game week. Fine, we did those 2 transfers for free last week. We have Triple City Defense, maybe looking to get out of that potentially. Suchek, who has red card rescinded, so we'll be back in action this week. Salah, Fernandez, Antonio, who is flagged, should play a part, but was a little bit on the tired side, so he should come back in this week. Bamford and Calvert-Lewin, who currently is likely to miss the Fulham game, but will play the Man City game. So basically, it's just Calvert-Lewin versus Man City in a single game week. Not ideal. Maybe looking to either bench or get rid of him. And then we have Martinez on the bench, obviously because Pope has a double game week. Soufal, Heung-min Son, and Barnes as the rest of the players. So overall, looking ahead, some players that I probably don't necessarily want. Salah, Liverpool just don't convince me at all. Calvert-Lewin may not be fit. One of those games, in the next 2, in 25, as well as the game that he would play would be against Man City and Liverpool. So will he do something there? Not too sure. Antonio, Suchek, as well as Soufal, probably don't want them after this week because their fixtures get a lot worse, and they don't, or likely aren't going to have a double in 26. However, the double Burnley defense is good for this week, but do I necessarily want it for the double game week? Maybe, maybe not, but we'll kind of take a look at that as we go. So these, I'm going to bring up 4 individual images here. So the first one, this is all these images from Twitter are by Ben Krellin, so credit to him. Check him out on Twitter. He's an absolute master when it comes to fixtures, and he basically does these calculations and spreadsheets to see what is the most likely outcome for the double game weeks going forward. So the fixtures that are going to be staying in 29, so what usually happens is the FA Cup for the quarterfinals, whatever fixtures would be during that week, which is Game Week 29 this season, if that team has an FA Cup fixture, they will not play their Premier League fixture there, and they'll have to play it sooner. Hence why it'll be a blank, and then a team has to play a double. So they have to put it in certain weeks where there's a team not playing in Europe, so i.e. the Champions League or in the Europa League, and they have to put it in certain weeks. Now, there are some teams like Man City and Everton and Aston Villa and Spurs who have fixtures that still need to be made up because of the outbreak in the camp with COVID, which was close around Christmas time, as well as Fulham as well. So the fixtures that are currently in there is Leeds versus Fulham. That game is scheduled to take place on on Game Week 29. Newcastle versus Brighton, and West Ham versus Arsenal. And then this is also under the speculation that Spurs will play Aston Villa in 29, which makes the most logical sense. But so if we're looking here, the ones that are highlighted in bright yellow here, or green, lime green, whatever you want to call it. I'm color deficient, but yeah, this color here. these are the ones that are the projected double game weeks. Now, this is scenario A out of 4 scenarios. So this is the most likely out of all the scenarios, 30%. So we have City doubling, Everton doubling, Burnley doubling, Southampton doubling, Aston Villa doubling, Spurs, Man United, Crystal Palace, Leicester, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Wolves. And then basically there's 2 scenarios which take up 54%, and the only addition is basically West Brom and Sheffield United will have a double as well. And then Aston Villa play Sheffield United instead of Everton, and then Everton would play West Brom instead. So some slight fixture changes there. I'm going to go into the assumption that it is the smaller of the 2. Now, the big difference between the sets of scenarios, the one that takes up 46%, is the fact that Fulham has a double and Southampton does not. But Southampton will have a double in game week 27. So you can see the difference between the 2 there just slightly. Well, I'll do it between these 2. So you can see that Southampton basically doesn't get the double. Fulham does, because Fulham still has to make up a fixture. And then Southampton will still have a double in 27 almost certainly as well. These are the scenarios that we're kind of looking at. So basically we have to kind of base some of our decisions around, does Southampton double in 26 and gets a triple double, so 25, 26, 27, which means they'll be really good. So I hope that happens, because they have some nice players at a cheap price where we can bring them in and have them for 3 game weeks straight. And it's very good for on the wild card at 25, because you could just hold them right the way through, which is nice. Whereas Fulham having a double, not necessarily the greatest. It would be a decent double with Crystal Palace and Spurs, but overall you're only really looking at like Lookman, maybe Areola, and that also changes our goalkeeper as well. So if we're looking at the likely fixtures, so I'm going to look at the most likely one here. So City, West Ham, and Wolves, that's pretty much the same all the way through. That's probably what their double is going to be. Everton's will change slightly. Burnley's will be against 2 tougher opposition. Southampton's will be a bit mixed. Aston Villa's will be either like 1 good, 1 bad, or 2 good. Spurs will be pretty straightforward for the most part. There's might even be easier with Burnley and Fulham on paper, which is looking at triple captaincy territory if that's what you're looking for like Kane or Son. Man United's is the same. Chelsea, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace's is the same. Leicester's is the same. Liverpool's is the same. As well as Chelsea's will be the same. And Wolves' will be the same. And then the only additions would be if West Brom and Sheffield United are in those double game weeks. I'm not necessarily looking at those assets, so I'm kind of excluding them from this situation. So let's go with scenario A here. So this is the situation where Southampton double 3 game weeks in a row, where they double in 26, the most important one, they double in 27, and they double in 25. So I've done up 1 draft for each scenario here. So as you can see on the screen, this is 0.4 million left over. And basically what I've gone and done is I've got triple Southampton, because it just makes the most sense. 3 double game weeks in a row, why not? So we've got Martinez in goal. He's going to be in all of my drafts. We went with Schmeichel, who is somebody who has a pretty good set of fixtures in there. So he has Arsenal at home, Burnley away, so 2 teams that don't necessarily score as much. And Leicester in good form. Yes, they'll be missing James Justin, who unfortunately had a crucial ligament injury in their last game, so he'll be out for almost all of 2021, which is a bit unfortunate because he was vying for a place in the England squad. So it makes him a little bit weaker defensively, but they do have options that are also coming back from injury soon as well, like Fofana and Castagne as well, that can pick up where he left off. But we also have Shaw, who's a very good cheap Man United defender. Will most likely be playing both games. He seems to be pretty much the league defender, whereas Telles kind of plays in the cup for the most part, unless United play against stiff opposition or get to a semi or a final. Vestergaard and Walker-Peters, the 2 best defenders for Southampton in my opinion. Walker-Peters for assist potential getting forward, Vestergaard for set pieces. Cancelo and Diaz, 2 really good defenders for City and the most likely to play. Gundogan, can't really drop him at the moment. Midfield kind of picks itself for the most part. Grealish, Fernandes, Son. And we've got Rafinha in there because he has a double in 25. And we can always change him out for somebody else. Or we could just hang on to him because it's not like he has a completely terrible fixture in this scenario. Aston Villa at home, not great, but it's also not terrible either. And then we have the front line of Ings, Kane, and Bamford. So what we could do with our one free transfer in 26, if we wanted to, was take out Bamford and bring in Ollie Watkins, and we would have the funds to do that as well. And basically, we would have 14 double game week players. Rafinha would be the only one that wouldn't have a double game week in that week. So basically, our bench boost would probably be Schmeichel, Vestergaard, Walker Peters, and Rafinha. Those would be the players on the bench, which I think is pretty good. And they would have 7 fixtures between them all. Now, we could potentially look to squeeze some money out somewhere and get another midfielder in there. Neto is 5.7. He would have a double versus Newcastle and Man City, so maybe we can put him in there instead of Rafinha, but would be one less double game week player the week before. So we can get our points earlier or later. We can kind of pick and choose. So that's under the scenario that Southampton double. Now, it's a little bit different if Fulham double, because then Southampton, you kind of have to say, well, do I only bring in some Southampton players, or do I say, well, their double game week in 25 is not as good versus Chelsea and Leeds. They have a single game week at 26. Maybe I bring them in afterwards where they can potentially get something versus Sheffield United, and then they just get their 2 points versus City. So that team looks a little bit like this. A little bit more difficult to kind of do personally. If Southampton have doubles all the way through, it is a lot easier. But this team has a little bit of a different kind of spin on it as well. I could technically do this with the other team as well, but it all is enabled because Lookman has a double game week as well. So we've kept 3.8 million in the bank here, and that's because we can make the one transfer, which would be to get rid of Bamford, and we can actually go all the way up to Jamie Vardy here and put him in the front line, who is against he'd be against Arsenal and Burnley, which is quite a good fixture set in a double game week. And then after that, I think his run is also very good. So Brighton, Sheffield United, he does blank, but that doesn't really matter too much because we're free hitting anyway, and we can make plans after the fact. And he has a pretty good run up until basically game week 36, where the end of the season's not too good for him. But yeah, and then you would have in this scenario, you would have 15 double game week players. So our whole frontline doubles, our whole midfield doubles, our whole backline doubles, and our goalkeepers both double as well. It's a bit tougher to find a backline that looks good. Loughton, not the greatest double game week player. In these scenarios, he'd be up against Spurs and Leicester in all of them, so not ideal. And then we have Connor Cody, who would be up against Newcastle, so maybe a clean sheet there. And especially with Callum Wilson out, that probably reduces their potency quite a bit. But then they play Man City as well, so not ideal there. And I don't really trust Wolves; they have been floundering quite a bit. So it is a bit lacking with Southampton out of it. Personally, we do get the additive that Lookman is in there with the double, but personally I would hope that I could be able to play this team going into that game week. Alternatively, we could change this team up as well. Obviously, we can save some funds in goal, and we can go with McCarthy, and then that would mean dropping Ings or one of the defenders. The problem is that Fraser Forster has been looking quite good, so maybe McCarthy gets dropped. So I'd probably go with the more assured picks here. What we could do is, instead of Danny Ings, we could have James Ward-Prowse, which frees up some money there. We could have Bamford we bought him at 6.4, so we have an additional 1.7 to kind of throw around and pick and choose what we want to go with, if that's something we would like to do. If we really wanted to go up to Vardy, we would have to get an additional 2 million from somewhere. We could get 1 million basically from our goalkeeper if we were to go to a 4-5. Looking at the double game week goalkeepers, Nick Pope, no. McCarthy, yeah, but he could be dropped. We already have what's his name, Martinez. Spurs, no, not really. United, no. Guaita at 4-8 could be okay. No, not Schmeichel, not Allison. Mendy at 5-1, maybe. Patricio, I'm not sure what he is currently. 5-3, yeah, that's a bit too expensive. So it'd be a bit tougher to get a goalkeeper. We get basically 0.5 out of it. Yeah, it would be a bit tricky there. But I like the idea of Vardy versus Arsenal, who he tends to score against, and Burnley, where he could potentially do damage to them as well, getting in and around the box. So I think that could be something there. Maybe I find something a little bit different, or maybe some things go a certain way to where certain players are kind of freed up, and you know, maybe more injuries happen or that sort of thing, in which case the team changes. But that's kind of what I'm looking at overall. You know, those are the two different scenarios that we're kind of looking at. I hope it's the one with the Southampton players in it, because I can get players that are in doubles for several game weeks in a row and get a lot of value out of the wild card. And we can also have a scenario where we can have 14 or 15 double game week players in both of them and have a good team going forward. And it's not like we'd be putting a lot of money on the bench for the most part. So going forward, you would have, let's say for this team, you'd have Vestergaard, Walker Peters, and let's say Ward-Prowse on the bench. It's not the end of the world. Schmeichel, you can always downgrade straight to just a non-playing goalkeeper afterwards with one transfer. You can do that as part of 2 free transfers and upgrade Ward-Prowse to somebody else. So if I did Schmeichel, let's say down to who's Martinez's backup? Well, I can't get Martinez's backup. So Fraser Forster, 4 million goalkeeper. And then I would get rid of Ward-Prowse, and I can go up to a 9 million plus midfielder. So you can get a lot of value there. And then same for this team. Areola's 4.5 million. We have Lookman's only on the bench. Loughton, Cody, and Areola. Again, not much money actually on the bench for a team that is quite good at, for bench boosting. Seems to be quite good value for me. But yeah, those are the two different scenarios. I'm going to put a link in the description below to Ben Krellin's Twitter, because these images are from his Twitter. He's the fixture guru, and we wouldn't be able to do it without him. So go on and check. He has a thread now of all the possible scenarios. We should get news of what these fixtures are probably sometime next week, hopefully before the start of game week 25, which is also double game week. That starts on the Friday. I believe Wolves play in the first fixture. Let's see, Wolves versus Leeds, of course, in the first fixture for game week 25. So yeah, go check that out. Make sure to give him a follow as well. He's the one who provides these tables for us members in the FPL community. It makes planning our double game weeks that much easier. And that's going to do it for the current fixture update for double game week 26. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Don't worry, I will be planning on doing a wildcard video next week, and I will be posting what my team will be before the deadline, because I'm almost certainly going to be wildcarding in game week 25. So make sure to give us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date and see when that lineup news comes out, or any videos that may be pertaining to it, or any of the fixture changes. As well as give us a follow over on Twitch. We will be doing a preview stream and a deadline stream. We'll have to do the deadline stream on Thursday evening of next week, because the first game is on Friday and I won't be home in time in order to do the video before that. And we'll be doing a preview stream probably on Tuesday. We'll still have 2 fixtures left overall for the Wednesday, so I still want to be able to do a video during that time. Hopefully that's when the fixture news comes out by then, and then we can do a video for that. So make sure to check that out, and that's why you need to follow us on all the different platforms so you can get all the content as soon as it is readily available. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.